guys, and very welcome to this the International 6 kind of analysis where we are going to have a quick look at all the teams playing at this event, especially the invited teams that are already in the group stage. And of course we are going to have a look at the wildcard teams. We have 4 of them, and after they've played their games, a winner will be picked, and that team will be going onto the group stage. Now this wildcard event will be happening tomorrow on the 2nd of August, and let's have a quick look at the teams playing there. We've got some good talent here. First off, we've got Complexity Gaming, being a team hailing from the North American scene, although they've, as you can see, they've still got 3 European teams from Sweden, but they are a North American organization, so they are regarded as being an NA team. Now we've got Chessy, Limp, Swindle Melons, Hanskin and Z-Freak. A very solid team, having shown cool strategies before in previous events. Quite one memorable strategy that they had a few months ago was running the Axe strategy, where they farmed him up very aggressively. At about 6 or 7 minutes he had Vanguard and Blink, I think, if I'm not mistaken, and they used that to demolish the opponents. So they can definitely bring some interesting stuff to the table in this tournament, and we'll see how their first match goes. They are playing against Escape Gaming in the first round. Now Escape is not a very well-known team, but if you look at the players that they have in their team, you can recognize the potential that they actually have. They've got Era on carry, Koifa mid, Kezu offlaner, and then Yapso and Cinderin on the support roles. Now Cinderin is a very well-known player and caster in the Dota 2 scene. He's played for teams such as Mouse Sports in their days in TI2 era, and he's shown that he knows a lot about the game. His analytical casting is top notch. I really like listening to what he has to say about a game, and he can definitely analyze and scrutinize a team's drafting and strategy by just looking at the heroes they are playing and the side that they've chosen, Radiant or Dire. But there are many other things he can analyze, and I'm not even going to try to mention that. Then we've got EOM against Execration. Now Execration is relatively unknown in the scene, hailing from the Philippines. Now I don't know any of these players, I haven't seen them play or anything, but I've definitely seen Execration, the team, playing in lots of tournaments. They've obviously qualified, or they played in qualifiers for the previous internationals, and they did pretty well, if I remember correctly. They aren't one of the best teams playing at this tournament, but they definitely have some potential. Now we've got EOM. They are playing against EOM. Now this name has been in Dota for many years, even before Dota 2 was in beta. Now we've got players playing for them such as Ice from Singapore. He played in the first international tournament. He played for Scythe Gaming, placing 3rd, and that just shows you the type of experience these players have. We've got Old Chicken, literally an old veteran in the scene. He knows a lot about the game, and his mid capabilities are very refined. Now we've got 11, also a very strong player. Lanham and Fenrir being both very good supports on their own, but together they can create magic for sure. So we'll have to see how this wildcard tournament pans out. My personal predictions are that Complexity are gonna probably lose against Escape Gaming, and when you look at the roster that Escape has, I think they can definitely pull something out, and then EOM will demolish Execration, most likely, because it will be an upset and interesting if EOM loses to Execration. But there's a lower bracket round for these teams to play out, so losing here is not the end. Now after that, I believe Escape Gaming will play against EOM after the first round, and EM will probably demolish them and qualify for the group stage, because what is an international without seeing EM there? Exactly. But it will be mind-blowing if they do not qualify for the main event. Now, or for the group stage for that matter. Now, moving onwards, we've got the group stage. But before we have a look at that, I first want to talk about the teams that have been invited. Now, we've got Group A here, listing OG Alliance, Wings Gaming, Navi, Evil Geniuses, LGD Gaming, and TNC Gaming. Now, so there's one correction I have to make. Two of the wildcard teams are going to move on. The winner obviously is going to move. The first place team is going to move to one group, and then the second place is going to move to another group. So sorry about that for bringing some misinformation there. Okay, so Group A looks rather full of teams that have the potential to be top 4, but once again, we've got many good teams here, so this will be like a dogfight. It will be reckless, and teams will most likely be bringing their absolute best to be seeded in the top 4 of their group, because the top 4 of each group are going to move to the upper bracket round of the main event, and that's where you probably want to be, because moving through a lower bracket has been shown to fatigue some teams, and then they drop out eventually. Other teams such as Newbie and Navi have in the past shown that they can move through the lower bracket and make it to the grand finals, but those are for the really disciplined and basically the godlike teams who just know and have the correct mindset to move through such a strenuous lower bracket round. Anyway, so looking at Group B, we've got teams such as Newbie, Team Secret, VG Gaming Reborn, MVP Phoenix, Digital Chaos, Fnatic, and Team Liquid, and then obviously the team coming from the wildcard. So my predictions, or I don't really want to make predictions, because this international has some of the best quality teams. Yeah, it's quite hard to predict to any extent of accuracy which teams are going to make it through. But just for the fun of it, let's have a look at Group A. I presume that OG will remain in this top position. They'll be first in their group. This is just preliminary, but yeah, I think they will remain in this first position. Then we'll probably have Navi, EG, and Wings Gaming in the top 4. And not necessarily in that order, but those 4 teams I believe will be going through to the upper bracket. Now, being in the bottom of your group does not mean you're out. You're just going to the lower bracket, where you have to fight for your place in the tournament and for your tournament life, essentially. So Group B, we've got very, very good teams here. But just having a quick look, I believe Newbie will be making it, and then Team Liquid, Fnatic for sure, and then it's a toss-up between the remaining teams. I'm not quite sure about the capabilities of VG, Team Secret, MVP, and DC, but I'll put my money on Team Secret for making it in the top 4 of their group. They've shown in the recent Star Ladder I-League that they've changed up their roles a bit. They've got Ortiz on the carry role now, and Eternal Envy playing the mid role. So it is quite refreshing to see that they are trying new things, and definitely trying new strategies and drafting compositions that will probably benefit them going into this international. Now, moving on to the main event, we've already considered the top 4 teams of each group. So then we're gonna have the first round of the upper bracket, but it's probably gonna be the lower bracket first. So we're gonna have the top 4 teams of each group coming to the upper bracket. So you'll be left with 8 teams in the upper bracket, and then the bottom 4 teams of each group will be put into the lower bracket. Now, as you can see, obviously, as most tournaments have been formatted this way, the upper bracket gives you a lot of leeway. If you can win your games, you've got a lot less games to play out as you go to the upper bracket finals and hopefully the grand finals. Now, if you end up in the lower bracket, let's say you lose in the first upper bracket round, you drop to the lower bracket round 2, and you still have a lot of rounds to play just to get to that lower bracket finals. And this is where the true grit and the endurance and determination comes in. If you can move from this, if you can move on this uphill slope, and you can eventually end up at the top of the hill and still make it to the grand finals. We've seen it happen, and we're probably going to have some underdogs showing what they can do in this lower bracket, section of the brackets. So that's basically it. I just want to wrap this up and go back to the main page of the International 6. Let's just have a look. We haven't even mentioned the prize pool. This is one of the interesting things about TI6. Yes, we had a very big prize pool at TI5, but look at what the prize pool is already at, and it's still growing. It's $19 million. This is insane, just to say the least. We're gonna have the first place prize is still being determined, obviously, because it's growing, but it's already at 8.5 million US dollars. It's insane. I saw a headline today. I think it said something in the lines of that the TI6 first prize is larger than the first prize that you'll get for winning the World Series of Poker event. And we all know how hard it is just to get to the finals of the World Series of Poker. Only the true and honorable players get there. They have to go through many rounds and lots of stress putting on them just to get to that last round. They have to beat the best players in the world just to get to the end of that tournament, and then they are still not guaranteed to get first place. That's what I meant to say. So 8.5 million US dollars. These teams are gonna do their best to get at least a podium finish where you can get $2 million for your team. That is a lot for a team. It can support them for the next year, practicing, playing in tournaments to work towards the International 7. And thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope you will be supporting all the teams that will be playing here, and good luck to your favorite.
Initializing in 3, 2, 1...